Hello, one and all, and welcome back, yes, back to the Great Unknown Audio Show with me, your illustrious host, and most appropriate face for radio, Maxim Jennings. And, you catch me at a good time, because I am in the middle of preparing some food in the lovely indoors accommodation of my good friend Izzy, who is currently at work. Oh, work, what is that? And I'm preparing a curry for us as I've just arrived in Dunsborough, which is, 2 or so days back from when you would have last heard from me. And really, I just decided to record this episode kind of reviewing the last 2 days because the day before, yesterday, was a very driving heavy day. 6 hours from Esperance up to a place called Denmark, not the country, although it did feel very alpine-y. I don't know whether Denmark is known for that. I know it's notorious for very expensive beer and some lovely pastries, but no, I had a 6-hour drive to this place that was very different to Lucky Bay, where I was staying the night before. It was very much forest heavy and had a much more kind of Tasmanian feel to it, which is really nice to see, because I thought that Western Australia was either one of two things. You were by the beach, white sand beaches, or you were in the middle of absolutely nowhere in the outback. Oh God, we've started with onions, and this could be a really bad decision because these boys are pretty intense, and my cooking skills aren't fantastic at the best of times. So if you hear me and it's already started, this might have been my worst idea to try and talk whilst chopping onions. I don't have any goggles. That was what I'd usually use it. Oh my God. That was what I usually use in food tech at school. I'd always just use goggles because they were acted as a good kind of defender away from the potentness that is onions. I have no idea why they are like this, but they really leave their mark on you, don't they? I know some people, psychos in this world, are very resilient to it. I think this is why I constantly avoid this vegetable, because it always does this to me. And it does it to lots of people, I understand that. But I guess it's one of those things, as my old fitness coach used to tell me, that practice makes permanence. So if I want to repel myself away from onions, I have to practice chopping lots and lots of onions. Otherwise, I'm always going to be this way. And they are a really important ingredient in lots of dishes to add that extra layer of flavour. They soak up a lot of stuff. So, and they're definitely necessary in this Indian curry that I'm doing, courtesy of the Jaipur cooking class recipe book that I was given after completing the classes. So thank you to them. If you remember the episode, Pink City, that was what it's called, Pink City cooking classes. Really good, really enjoyable experience. So I'm using that experience and putting it to the test in this butter chicken classic, what I hope to be, as a reward for Izzy when she gets back from work, because she's kindly letting me stay in her lovely, quaint little studio apartment in Dunsborough, which is a very nice coastal town, filled with lots of holiday makers and affluent Aussies. So she's picked a good spot, which is fair play to her. Hopefully we'll hear from her one of the episodes that we do, if she's willing. But yeah, let's get back to, first of all, the drive from Esperance to Denmark. 6 hours can feel like a long time, and it was the case indeed with this experience. I almost had a very tragic moment where I was almost losing the will to live, and then 2 emus came upon the road a highway where I was doing 100 kilometers an hour. They were leaving a bit of separation in between each other. And thankfully, as I was going up a hill and only saw them at the last minute. One was already crossing the road. One had already crossed the road and the other was crossing the right-hand lane. I was on the left. And bloody hell, thank God it turned back, because that could have been absolutely terrible for me, the Emu, and the rental car, which I am fully insured on. But yeah, it would have been bad business because I was going at a pace that's would have been fatal to the poor Emu. But it was smart enough to get out of the way. So thank you to you, Emu. But that was really the highlight of the journey. Not that there's much of a highlight. And we arrived in Denmark at a place called on kind of the. It was a farm that was off the main road called Scottsdale Road, called Sunset on the Hill. Unfortunately, only half of that statement is true, because it was most definitely on a hill, but there was definitely no sunset as it was pouring down with rain the entire night I was there. Yeah, it wasn't ideal. I had to really fight the urge to sleep in the car and braved it out in the tent. And to be fair to the Kmart tent, it did absolutely wonders for me and kept me nice and dry, other than the condensation that built up in the morning. But it was an absolutely wonderful night's sleep. What did I watch? I watched 2 of the Planet of the Apes franchise. Oh, I'm forgetting to say how my morning was in Esperance. Well, the morning was fine. I went into the town, because obviously I was staying at Lucky Bay. And the town is very nice. Only has a population of 14,500 people, but it's probably the most known town in southwest Australia. Some lovely views. I did a bit of the portion of the Great Ocean Drive, which is not as good as a Great Ocean Road, but still provides some spectacular views of the ocean. But I was a bit cut for time, so that only lasted so long. And then I ended up getting myself a McDonald's coffee and trying one of their £2 toasties. So that was a pretty good experience. Before I embarked on the 6-hour drive. Sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place. The onions are really doing something to my organisational capabilities. Not that I had any in the first place. But yes, yeah, good morning wake up in Esperance. But now let's take you back to Denmark. What a place. Fantastic place. Yeah, so no sunset, unfortunately, but I did wake up in the middle of the night needing the toilet. It's fair to say the facilities at Sunset on the Hill were quite limited. A toilet, no running water, no clean water, no potable water. So we were really strapped of resources for someone who is not a very organised camper. But nonetheless, when I went for my midnight wee, I saw some of the most phenomenal star constellations I've ever seen. I don't think I'd ever seen a sky that was so filled with stars. So I was gazing for a good 20 minutes before the rain started pelting down again. I picked the perfect moment to go for my wee, so a very timely interval and very important, because if I hadn't seen those stars, I would have been very underwhelmed by my camping experience just outside of Denmark. But that really made up for it, and I'm so glad that I went, because they are so vivid in my mind now, and it was absolutely fantastic. There is the saying again, you'll be glad to hear. And then I went to where I am now. 4 hours from Denmark is Dunsborough, right on the coast. Like, I am a 5-minute walk from the Indian Ocean. How crazy is that to say? Absolutely. So strange. But, yeah. So, very nice coastal town. I got a coffee in the morning from the Denmark Dairy Company. A very nice large flat white for £3. I was reading an article by Apple News saying that the average price for a large flat white in the UK has gone up to £5.10. I mean, that is absolutely ludicrous. And to be fair to Australia, you have to give it to them. They keep their coffees cheaper than they do in the UK, that is for sure. So £3 large flat white for me. got myself going and arrived in Dunsborough about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Said hello to Izzy, caught up with her. We talked a lot about our travels. We've got a few days together, so it's always weird having that first interaction with someone who you haven't seen in so long. We haven't seen each other since July, and you have so much to catch up on about, and we have so much travelling to talk about. But if you're speaking to someone about your travels, you almost want to keep it as kind of limited and as short as possible, so that you end up saying probably about 3 sentences saying, yeah, I loved it, it was amazing, it was great, and everyone will say the same thing. But the more time you spend with each other, the more likely you are to actually learn more about people's travels. So I'm excited to hear more about what Izzy's been doing, and I think likewise her for me, as we've both been doing very different things. She's actually got her act together, got herself renting this studio flat, got herself a few jobs, whereas I'm kind of roaming. But who's to say any travel is better than the other? Well, I would say that if you were travelling to Wales instead of South America, then you might be doing it wrong. But that's just my humble opinion. Yeah, and now we are in the process of making the butter chicken curry. I did go out and try and see the sunset because being right next to the ocean, I was expecting big things, but unfortunately the weather again has let me down. Lots of rain today, lots of rainfall. I mean, it is winter, I understand that, but we are in bloody Australia. I didn't expect to have UK weather the entirety of the time I was here. But nonetheless, we will try again tomorrow to see something fantastic. And that's kind of where we are now. It's the evening is slowly winding down. Izzy and I will be... can't remember when she said we were going tomorrow. Well, we might be going tomorrow, but I'll make sure to chime in again and let you know about what I've been doing. As I'm still prepping the same onion that I started chopping up 12.5 minutes in. I'm into my last fragment. I've only got 2 more onions to go. It's good that I've given myself plenty of time to make this dinner because speed is thankfully not of the essence, and if it was, then there's no other way of putting it. I'd be absolutely fucked. So that's why I would never go on MasterChef, first of all. That initial challenge where you've got 10 minutes to make something. Oh, God, that just sounds like torture. So, no. We've got plenty of time to prep this. And hopefully it will taste good. I'll let you know what Izzy thinks in the morning. But as the tears continue to stream from my face, I have to love you and leave you and get back to prepping. I hope you've enjoyed this little roundup of my last 2 days on this immense Western Australian adventure. I should say that I have also booked my flight now to the almighty land of the Kiwis, New Zealand. I'm going on the 22nd to Auckland, a week before I start my tour. So, because we've had a few other events that my friends from Melbourne and I have been, and myself and Nick have been planning, I've had to jiggle the dates around. So unfortunately, I won't be going to the east coast of Australia. Some people go, "Oh God, you idiot, what are you doing?" But yeah, timing's just not worked. I'd rather spend another week in New Zealand for sure. I don't think 2.5 weeks would be enough, but 3.5 to a month should cut it, really. And then we are aiming to do a notorious full moon party in Thailand. So that should be amazing. Hopefully I'll take you on the way for that. But for now, folks, I do hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. And hopefully you'll continue to listen to the next one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.